Hey, Class 10 students, get ready, because today we're diving into a story that is absolutely crucial for your exams. We're going to look at how this one idea, nationalism, started out all about bringing people together, but somehow ended up tearing the world apart and leading straight to the First World War. Let's jump right in.
So we're starting with this powerful symbol of unity and ending with global war. It's a wild ride, and you really need to understand how we got from point A to point B. Now, we're from A1 Institute, and our entire goal here is to get you completely exam ready. So if that sounds good to you, do us a favor and like, share, and definitely subscribe to our channel for more of these explainers.
All right, so where do we even begin this story? Well, let's go back to the early 19th century. Back then, people had this really cool way of thinking about their nations. They imagined them as these powerful female figures. And for Germany, that figure was Germania. Now, she wasn't just some painting on a wall. Nope, she was literally the hopes and dreams of an entire nation. So the question is, what is she trying to tell us through all her symbols?
Okay, check this out. Every single detail you see here tells a piece of the story. You've got the broken chains, that's about being freed from oppression. The crown of oak leaves, that stands for heroism. And look at the sword. It shows they're ready to fight, for sure, but it's wrapped in an olive branch. That means they're also willing to make peace. See, this wasn't about being aggressive. It was this beautiful vision of a new era, one built on strength, freedom, and liberal ideals. And it's all captured in those rays of the rising sun, symbolizing a brand new beginning.
And this brings us to a super important word you absolutely have to know for your exams: allegory. Germania is the perfect example. An allegory is when you use a person or a thing to express an abstract idea, like freedom, or in this case, the German nation itself. It was a way for people to take this big idea of a nation and make it real, something they could see. So, long story short, Germania is the allegory of Germany. Definitely lock that one away.
But, and this is a big but, here's where the whole story just takes a really dark turn. That hopeful, idealistic version of nationalism, it didn't stick around. As we get towards the end of the 19th century, this idea of what a nation is started to morph into something, well, something much more dangerous. And this right here really shows you that change perfectly. On one side, you've got that early nationalism, the Germania version, right? Full of those liberal democratic ideals. But by the end of the century, it had completely twisted into what the textbook calls a narrow creed with limited ends. Basically, it became intolerant, super aggressive, and always spoiling for a fight. So what was the result of all this? Well, it was devastating. You see, nationalism joined forces with imperialism, and that's the drive to build massive empires by taking over other countries. This combination was just toxic. As the book puts it, this mix is what led Europe to disaster in 1914. The whole goal flipped. It wasn't about freedom anymore. Now it was all about domination.
So, you have this incredibly explosive mix of aggressive nationalism and empire building. Where did the match finally get lit? The answer is a region in Europe that started being called the powder keg of the continent, the Balkans. This was the spot. This was the flashpoint where everything was about to go up in flames.
Yeah, after 1871, if you were looking for trouble in Europe, the Balkans was the place to be. It was the most tense, most volatile region on the entire continent, a total hotbed of conflict, just waiting for a spark. So the big question is, why? What made this one area so unbelievably unstable?
So, what exactly was going on in the Balkans? Well, you had a few things happening all at once. First, it was a region with a huge mix of different ethnic groups, like the Slavs. Second, all these groups were trying to break free from the control of the Ottoman Empire, which was getting weaker and weaker. Third, as soon as they got their independence, they started fighting each other, all wanting more land. And to top it all off, the big powers of Europe saw this chaos and treated the whole region like it was their personal chessboard.
And who were these big powers playing this dangerous game? We're talking about Russia, Germany, England, and Austria-Hungary. Every single one of them was trying to get a foothold in the region, trying to expand their own power. They were all competing for trade, for colonies, for military strength. And they did it by stirring the pot, manipulating all those local conflicts to serve their own imperial goals. For them, the Balkans was just a prize to be won.
So this is it, the final act. You've got this intense local nationalism. You've got these brand new nations with big ambitions, and you have these giant rival empires all crashing into each other in this one super volatile region. What happens next? A whole series of wars breaks out right there in the Balkans. And with every single battle, the fuse on a much, much bigger explosion just got shorter and shorter.
And then, this whole tangled mess of rivalries. It finally snapped. Those wars in the Balkans, which were fueled by all that aggressive nationalism and imperial greed, led straight to the outbreak of the First World War in 1914. The powder keg finally, officially exploded.
Okay, wow, that was a lot to take in, I know. So let's boil it all down. We're going to summarize everything into 5 key takeaways that you absolutely need to have down for your exams. If you can master these 5 points, you'll have a fantastic grip on this entire topic. So let's get into it.
All right, let's walk through this step by step. Number 1, nationalism starts out as a good thing, a positive ideal about unity and freedom, perfectly shown by Germania. 2, that dream goes bad. It gets twisted into something aggressive and hungry for empire. 3, the Balkans becomes the main flashpoint, with new countries fighting each other as the old Ottoman Empire crumbles. 4, the big European powers, Russia, Germany, England, Austro-Hungary, they jump into the mess and start manipulating things for their own benefit. And finally, number 5, this crazy, explosive mix of aggressive nationalism and imperial rivalry in the Balkans leads directly to the First World War in 1914. That's the chain of events, from a symbol of unity to a worldwide disaster. That is the story.
And there you have it. That's the journey from nationalism to imperialism and to war. If you want more explainers that break down other parts of this chapter, you know what to do. Head over to the A1 Institute YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe. Let's keep those studies going strong.
And listen, if you're looking for more than just these videos, I'm talking detailed notes, one-on-one guidance, or even info on admissions to get you totally prepared for your exams. We are here for you. All you have to do is check the description below for our contact number. Thanks so much for tuning in, and seriously, good luck with your studies.